Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's another beautiful day. Am I coping with this heat? Strangely enough, better than I've ever coped with it before in my life. When I was really overweight, I hated the summer. I mean, anything from the beginning of June onwards when it went over 16 degrees and I was struggling. But this year, for the well, no, probably not the first year, it's probably the second year, but I'm more conscious of it this year. I'm not struggling in the heat. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, you put the fan on if you're indoors or whatever. You wear something cool when you go out. I mean, today I'm wearing just a really lightweight t-shirt and I've got these shorts in Sainsbury's. They're like tie-dye, kind of halfway between cotton and more like jogging bottom, but thin, and they're really flared, which is cool, really cool. They come probably 2 or 3 inches above the knee. Oh, excuse me, that's my iPad. They're really cool. Now, to be able to wear this outfit for me and go out there in this heat and actually feel comfortable, feels like a massive achievement. Because I was talking to a friend the other day and saying, you know, when I was bigger, and I think I also put this in my comments to somebody, when I was bigger, it didn't matter what the weather did. I wore the same all year round. I wore leggings, I wore tops, baggy jumpers, baggy t-shirts, black cardigans. And it wouldn't have mattered whether it was, you know, 10 degrees or 30 degrees. I'd have been in leggings. And I can honestly tell you, without any fear of contradiction, or as my mother would say, any fear of contraception, that I will never, ever, ever wear leggings again in my life. And it doesn't matter what size I am. They just hold that memory of this is how I had to dress when I was really overweight. And for me today, it's not a comfortable look. As in mentally, it's not a comfortable look. I'll put them on and friends will say, yeah, you could buy those, they look good. But the minute I've got them on, I feel like the big Jane. And it's an emotional thing with me. So today, to be able to sort of come back from group, take off my usual weighing trousers and that, change into a pair of really comfortable shorts that look a bit like a short skirt, and know that, yeah, I can go off to Sainsbury's, I can go and do the other things I've got to do, and I will be cool. And I used to be so sort of out of breath and hot and sweaty. I don't think I'm naturally a very sweaty person. I never have clammy hands or sweaty feet or anything like that. And in this heat, I'm not struggling with that. I think, again, that was another thing for me because I was so overweight. And the freedom I'm finding from working this plan, living this plan, loving this plan is so much more than just the weight loss. It impacts on every bit of my life. And I really like it. I like it. So I've been to group and it was a lovely group, and we had some good chats in group this morning. We had some good results. We had 2 more people get to target. So through our back-to-back meetings this morning, and taking into account that it's the day that they launched the Slim for Life, or it's the week that they launched the Slim for Life book, which is for target members, we had 28 target members through. And I'm not saying they came to get this, they didn't. They came because they come anyway. And I just find that so encouraging. I was talking to a young lady who joined this morning, and I was, like me, she'd been to lots of groups in the past, and I was saying to her, over my history with Slimming World, which has been a long one, I don't recall going to many groups that actually had target members in the 60s, 70s, well no, I didn't join in the 60s, 70s. In the 70s, 80s and early 90s, I don't remember going to many groups that actually had a target member. And now, you know, there are more and more of us in all groups, not just mine. I'm sure you could tell a similar story about your group. When I say we've got 28 target members, it's probably because we had 170, 180 people through this morning. But still a good high proportion of them are at target. So when Naomi gave out these books this morning, she had to give out 28. And I just find that so encouraging. I'm not going to go into this plan in a big way because I have it on good authority that somebody else I love dearly is going to do that. And I think I've been at target too long to start examining this and taking it apart. I think it's great that Slimming World are doing something for target members. If I had to say, this falls, there's 3 categories in here of types of maintaining your target. And I would say I am definitely a type A, but without the extra savvy sins. So look out for other people who are taking this apart and explaining it and doing, because I'm not going to do that. But I am really happy that Slimming World are starting to acknowledge that there's a good number of people at Target now. And maybe that's why they're doing it, because a good number of people are actually getting to Target now and they need to take it seriously. And it says in here they want us to keep coming back. So for all the years I've said, oh, Slimming World, once you get to Target, they don't give a monkeys. They're going to hope you go away, put weight on, eventually you'll come back and pay again. I don't think I believe that anymore. I think they want us to keep coming back, and it's not always just about the money, because there's plenty of paying members coming through, so they can cope with the number of Target members. And let's face it, I think everybody who's at Target, or should I say, speaking for myself, there will be times when we slip out of Target, whether it's out the top or it's out the bottom, and then we pay for a while anyway until we get back in. So once you get to Target, never say I never will have to pay again, because there may be occasions when you do have to. I pay at the moment because I'm under Target, but I've only gone under Target again today, and that's something I want to just touch on. Went to group today, and actually at 9 stone 4 I'm within my old Target, and I've never moved my Target. And the reason I haven't moved my Target is because, in all seriousness, I didn't want to move my Target to a level that I couldn't sustain, which I think is wise with experience, but I didn't want to move my Target too quickly and then regret it, because you have to move it half a stone at a time, right? So over the last 9 months probably, I've actually lived between 8 stone 8 and 9 stone 4. And it's given me the chance to try different things and judge where I am at my most comfortable. Now I know today that my happy weight is 8 stone 11, okay? My target is currently set at 9 stone 7. So I can be between 9 stone 4 and 9 stone 10. I went to group this morning at 9 stone 4 and I lost 1.5 pounds, which has taken me out of the bottom of Target again, so I'm 9 stone 2.5, which means if I'm not back up again next week, which God forbid, I don't want to be, then I pay. When I get to 9 stone, I think I'm 99.9% sure I am going to move my target to 9 stone. I had in mind that I was going to move my target to 8 stone 10 or 8 stone 11, which is where I really like to be. But thinking about it sensibly, and after chatting with Susan last week, if I move my target to 8 stone 11, I like to be at the lower end of Target to be comfortable. That means I could go down to 8 stone 8. I have been 8 stone 8 and I don't need to be 8 stone 8 permanently. So I think my plan is when I hit 9 stone, I will move my target to 9 stone, and then I can comfortably exist between 8 stone 11 and 9 stone 3. Having been 9 stone 4 last week, I realise I can cope with being around 9 stone 3, 9 stone 4, but I would not like to go any higher. That's the top end of my reasonably happy weight. So yeah, watch this space for that. I think setting a target is a really difficult thing, because until you get there and you live there, you don't really know what it feels like. If you've been big like I had all your life, I mean, at 22 stone, I didn't know what it would feel like to be 9 stone. I didn't even know what it would feel like to be 15 stone. Until you get there and you experience it, you can't make these decisions. So we all set like an interim target when we join group, but it's not set in stone. And even when you get to Target, and say your target is, I'm just going to pick a figure, say your target is 10 stone 10, which was one of my targets on the way down, it doesn't mean you have to stay there. If you find that's comfortable, you're maintaining it, you're happy, that's your happy weight, stay there. If you find that the weight keeps coming off and you actually think, at 8 stone 7, be aware that you've got to move that target 7 pounds. So if your target's set at 10 stone 10, you'd have to move it to 10 stone 3. So don't set it too soon and make life difficult for yourself. I'm only saying this from experience because I did that. And yeah, I've allowed myself 9 months to have a try at all the different weights between 8 stone 8 and 9 stone 4 to decide where I really want to be, because this is a for life plan. One of the things that came out of group this morning, which I found a really, really wise comment, was when a lady said, looking at this plan and realising this week that if I want to stay where I'm at, I've got to do this for life, was actually quite a frightening thought, until we've now been handed this booklet that actually gives you a written plan for how to maintain. Because before you get to target and then you're off out in the cold on your own. And although, you know, we've got an excellent consultant who guides us, there was nothing written down. So you felt like you'd completed the part of the EE plan and then you're out in the cold. Where do I go from here? But now we're fortunate, we've got a written plan. So if you're close to target, you know, there's something fresh for you when you get there. But I think it was really helpful to me when this lady voiced the fact that this is for life. Because over the last fortnight, I've stuck to plan. You know that last week, although I stuck to plan, I gained 2 pounds. That could have been a bit of a shock to my system. It could have sent me one or two ways. It could have either made me more determined to stick to plan, which it did, thank God, or it could have pushed me straight over the top and straight into the chocolate shop or the cake shop, or let's have tiger loaf, you know. We all know those feelings because we've all, well, I've done it. I know what it feels like. But what did I do this week? With the help and encouragement of Joe and some of the fabulous meals he prepares, I stuck to plan 100%. And I do get comments on my channel where people ask me, you know, will you share a food diary? Will you do a what I eat in the day or what I ate in the week? Now, I can't do that easily because I can't do it independently. And I'm not going to burden Joe with the task of film this, Joe, film this, Joe, film this, Joe. And the other thing I have, and it's just a thing in my head, is like when my lunch or my dinner or my breakfast is ready, I want to eat it. I don't want to be faffing around filming it for Instagram or something. I want fresh food on my plate and straight to my mouth, because that's the way I am around food. I'm not interested in photography. I love doing this on a Saturday, but I am not motivated to burden Joe to be filming me every day to show. But we don't have the time anyway, do we, Joe?
No, not really.
We just don't have the time to do that. So what I have done this week is I have typed out my complete food diary for the week, including drinks, sins, healthy extras, everything. And if anybody would like to see it, drop me an email, get my email address from my About Me section on my channel, and by return I will send you a copy of my food diary. Now, I'm not saying for 1 minute there's anything special about my food diary. This is just the way I eat. And I've said many times I only eat food I love, but this is the way I eat on plan. And at the moment, because I'm wanting to lose weight, I'm focused on 1 healthy extra A, 1 healthy extra B, 5 to 15 sins. I think this week I've done 15 sins, 3 days, 14, probably a 12 and a half, 11 and a half, and I think yesterday was maybe 12. I've also this week done something I never do, which is I've drunk some water. Not a massive amount, but I've drunk some water. Now, it started the week when I was trying to drink some water. So I'd have a 500ml bottle of water and put a squeeze of sugar-free squash in it. And I said to Joe, I don't know if this is working for me. I've gone all day and I've not done a wee. And Joe, like, right, okay, you're drinking squash. And you said a similar thing happens, doesn't it? If you put squash in because you drink a lot of water for your height and weight, but if you put squash in it, it doesn't have the same effect of flushing through your system, does it?
No.
So
same with the sugar-free like Volvic water and stuff like that. I could drink like 2 litres of that and not go through.
Yeah, it doesn't go through you.
No.
So what I did, I tried my hardest to just drink it as water. And I think most of the time I managed that. But I did know that having a little bit of sugar-free squash in it from one of those little tiny squeezy bottles is better than not having it in the first place. I haven't upped my fluid intake. I've just drunk different things. So I'm still drinking coffee. I maybe haven't had as many coffees because I've drunk some water. I did have sugar-free spring water with Vimto in it. They were little bottles designed for kids. That was free, wasn't it? think it was 1 calorie per 100 mils, something like that. But yeah, I've tried. So if you're interested and you would like, a couple of you would like to see my food diary, just drop me an email and I'll send it you. But like I'm saying, there's nothing special about it. I lost 1.5 pounds this week. I've lost 1.5 pounds other weeks, It's just how I choose to eat on this plan. So if you're interested to see how somebody who's been at Target for 2.5 years eats, then I'm quite happy to share that with you. Something that came to me the other day, I was out with a friend at the pub one night and we were talking about, I haven't seen this friend for a few weeks, and we were talking about how she sees me as quite a small person now. And I said to her, it's really difficult, when you don't see at all. I mean, I can't see myself at all in a mirror or even get a vague outline or anything. When you don't see at all, you actually lose perspective, I suppose the word is, for what size you are. I know what size other people are because I hug them regularly. And I said it to her like that. I said, it's funny, I said, I know what size you are because I hug you when I greet you. I know what size Joe is because I can give Joe a hug. I know what size my husband is and that. And then it dawned on me, what did you do last Saturday? You gave Susan one and only a hug. And she's your size. And I said this to Joe afterwards like it was a revelation. Oh my God, she's so little. And it hadn't dawned on me when I hugged Susan a couple of times last Saturday that is, I mean, Susan would tell you herself, she's a similar shape and size to me. She's, curvy, busty, whatever. She's not a stick insect, but she's small and she's slim. And actually, I found myself going around with this big grin on my face afterwards, and I thought, thank you, Susan. Hugging you was like getting an idea of what I look like. It was like hugging myself. So yeah, that gave me a big boost this week. And the other thing, I've talked about making friends on this channel and that there's help and support if you need it for whatever your needs are within Slimming World. There's always encouragement, there's always support, and people will go out of their way to help you. And one of the things I was a bit concerned about with this Slim for Life plan, there's no version of it for visually impaired people. Now, the journal part doesn't bother me. I'm not a journaler. I do keep a food diary every day. I keep that on my laptop. I think that's vital. I could not live this plan without writing down what I eat and drink because I'll kid myself. If it's not on there, then I haven't had it. Even though I've stood in the kitchen and munched it, it don't count because I didn't write it down. So I've heard people say, bite it, write it. Or some people maybe write it, bite it. That's probably the better way around. It's been a help to me, like for 3.5 years keeping a food diary. I'm not a journaler because I lost the ability to be able to journal. I used to be a journaler when I was young, but when I lost my sight, I lost the easy ability to be able to fill in a journal that questions you. Like I could keep a diary, that's simple. But there's a lovely lady, Irene Scotland, you know who you are. So Irene from Scotland, who has done me the massive favour of typing out the basics from the book so that I can access them on my talking computer. That is worth its weight in gold to me. And that somebody would do that for you. You only have to ask for help on this plan. Somebody will help you. And I just think, we've all got something in common. We may never meet. We may have nothing else in common, but we've got this plan in common. And we should use that, to help each other. Don't look for the differences, look for the similarities. I can tell you, in all honesty, I watched some Slimming World channels and have done over the last 3 years and wanted to pull my hair out because they didn't do it my way. Doesn't mean they're wrong. It means I'm a bloody perfectionist and I expect everybody to see it and understand it the way I do. I'm lightening up. I'm seeing it differently as I get further and further into living this plan. There is no right way, there is no wrong way. Slimming World is all recommendations and suggestions. And if I'm honest, my first reaction to this book was, what did I say to you, Joe? It's a bit wishy-washy. It's all about suggestions. It talks about savvy sins. It's not all set in concrete. But I need to learn that people need flexibility. I'm a bit of a stickler for rules and I like a hard written plan, but not everybody needs that. So yeah, looking for the similarities and not the differences. And if I don't like the way somebody works the plan, I don't have to watch their channel. They don't have to watch my channel. I probably don't anyway, but do you know what I mean? It's looking in the Slimming World community, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you find it, forums, whatever you find, look for what helps you rather than what hinders you. Look for the similarities rather than the differences. And somebody had shared in group this morning that she was on some sort of forum and that's how she found Slimming World. And she'd been advised that if you didn't eat the whole of your healthy extras, you couldn't count them as a healthy extra, you had to sin them. Never heard that one before. But Naomi and the rest of the group soon said, no, that's not how it works. But if we haven't got the courage to ask about these things, you know, we can be doing it wrong. I met somebody in group, not this group, the one I went to previously, who had understood the plan to say you had a healthy extra A or B with every meal. You know, we can misunderstand things. It's good if you need clarification, ask somebody. There'll always be somebody who's got the answer, the proper answer, the Slimming World version of the answer. So that's me for today. You know, glorious day. We're now off to Sainsbury's and Costa and Aldi and Lord knows where else. But then we'll come back and get out of the heat, won't we, Joe?
Yep.
And have a restful week. Well, I'll have a restful weekend. Joe's got to go to work and stuff. But it's been a good week. I've loved every mouthful of my food. And if you do ask to look at my food diary, my favourite meal this week was the one that contained tuna and pomegranate. And I've only had, I think, one hot meal this week. I had a stir fry one day, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I think the rest of the time, again, because of the heat, I'm reaching for cold food. So, and that's not just because we don't cook when it's hot, because Joe has cooked meals every day. So it's just that for me, cold food does it. And this plan does it. So remember, it works if you work it. It worked for me this week. And I'm grateful for that. But living at Target is never going to be perfect. But perfection can't always be losing weight. It's knowing that you get to the end of the week and you look back and you say, do you know what? I had a bloody good week. And it's not just about food, it's about living. So, thanks for taking the time to watch. Look forward to your comments and we will see you next week. Say bye, Joe.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.